Thanks for coming. Moscow Police Department officers responded to a report of multiple gunshots fired in the vicinity of the 100 block of South Lily in the city of Moscow at approximately 8:40 p.m. Monday night, August 22nd. Neighbors reported to police that they had heard multiple gunshots at that location. When police arrived, they found a 22-year-old Caucasian female, subsequently identified as Catherine Katie Benoit, deceased at the scene. The victim had suffered multiple gunshot wounds by what has been identified as a .45 caliber handgun. Witnesses reported a male rapidly leaving the scene of the assault in a black 2010 Chrysler Sebring with Washington plates. Moscow Police Department then requested assistance from the Idaho State Police to process that crime scene. The Moscow Police Department then issued a press release requesting assistance from the public and surrounding agencies in locating this vehicle. Police determined that the license plate was issued to a rental car rented earlier that morning by the suspect Ernesto Bustamante. The vehicle was later located by Idaho State Police at the Best Western Plus University Inn here in Moscow. An initial inquiry at the Best Western indicated that the suspect had registered at the hotel at approximately 9:30 p.m. Monday evening. Police confirmed that the suspect had registered and checked into the hotel. We then subsequently evacuated the surrounding rooms in order to protect the occupants. At that point, the police sought an arrest warrant for Bustamante for suspicion of the homicide of Katie Benoit and search warrants for the rental car and hotel room. Those warrants were issued in the early morning hours of August 23rd by a Latah County magistrate judge. The Moscow Police Department requested assistance from the Latah County Sheriff's Office entry team in the event that a forced entry was necessary to gain access into the hotel room. Moscow Police Department officers first attempted to contact the suspect via telephone into the hotel room, but without success. Officers then attempted to contact the suspect by calling through the closed door, again with no response. Because of the lack of the response from the suspect and the suspicion that the suspect was armed, Moscow Police Department deployed tear gas through the exterior window of the room in an attempt to gain control of the situation. Officers ultimately made forced entry into that room to find the suspect lying on the bed and unresponsive. It was later determined that the suspect died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. It was determined that Katie Benoit was a native of Boise and a graduate student at the University of Idaho. We then contacted Boise Police Department and requested them to contact the victim's parents. When that initial contact had been made, I then spoke to the parents and informed them of the situation. Throughout this incident, Moscow Police Department personnel remained in continuous contact with officials at the city and at the University of Idaho because of Katie's status as a student at the university. Investigation reveals that Ernesto Bustamante was a former assistant of psychology at the University of Idaho, employed there from 2007 through the middle of this month, at which time he resigned from that position. It appears that the victim and suspect were known to each other and may have had previously a relationship. We are continuing to investigate the nature of that relationship, and motives for this homicide remain under investigation at this time. Moscow Police Department provides police services to the University of Idaho campus, and I want to acknowledge the cooperation of the University of Idaho in this investigation. The City of Moscow also appreciates participation from the Idaho State Police, the Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Moscow Volunteer Fire Department, and the Whitman County Regional SWAT Team who was placed on standby. I want to emphasize that it appears that this is an isolated incident and there is no further danger to the community or the students at the University of Idaho. We will continue to work with the community and the university to assist them in dealing with this terrible situation. At this time, I'd like to introduce Bruce Pittman. He's the Dean of Students at the University of Idaho, and he has a few comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Lemons. Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Pittman. I'm the Vice Provost for Student Affairs and Dean of Students at the University of Idaho. I'd like to read a very brief statement on behalf of the University of Idaho and then comment more fully about a number of the steps that we're taking to help students and faculty and staff who are grieving at this point. Here's the information that we can legally share about Ernesto Bustamante. He was an assistant professor of psychology and communication studies at the University of Idaho from 2007 until he resigned effective August 19, 2011. We're saddened by the loss of Katie Benoit, who was one of our graduate students. Our heartfelt sympathy goes to the victim's to her family and friends, and the university is making grief counseling available for students, faculty, and staff. Of some importance, we need to let you know that we are also canceling or postponing the university convocation that was scheduled for this afternoon. It will be rescheduled at a later date. I'd like to talk to you briefly about the activities that we have engaged in the last few hours in supporting our students. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy on many levels. This is a tragedy for a number of students who lost a best friend. This is also a tragedy for the university in losing a faculty member. We have been initiating a number of our grief intervention activities this morning. We contacted some of Katie's close friends and other graduate students in the psychology department. At 11 o'clock this morning, we had a meeting with them to talk about the specific situation and certainly offer counseling services and other support. We also are in the process of identifying other groups of students who were close friends, and at this moment have a team of folks from our counseling center at one of our student living groups, which she was a member of until just a year or two ago at graduation. I also want to emphasize that this morning we did deploy our emergency notification process. We felt like that was important to keep our students updated as they were first getting up this morning and making their way to campus. We're confident that that system reached a large number of students who had probably some initial concerns and some who had no information about the situation initially. We are also grateful to the Moscow Police Department for their thorough work, and we will continue working with them as this investigation unfolds. So, thank you.
Was there anyone else in the house at the time of the shooting?
Yes, there was one other occupant. It was a roommate of Katie.
Was she able to tell you who the suspect was at that point?
No, she was not. She was inside the residence.
Is there any indication, just hearsay, that the suspect, Ernesto, may have been stalking Katie? Have you heard anything of that nature?
That's still under investigation at this time, so I'm not really able to comment on that.
Can you talk about the nature of the shooting? I mean, did anybody hear anything? Did he just walk in there, fire shots? How many shots? Or
She was actually outside the residence, and the neighbors heard multiple gunshots in the area.
well, how many?
I don't know, multiple. That's how the report came in to us.
So was she already outside when he approached the house, or were they inside the house at some point and then they went outside where it happened?
She was outside already at the time of the incident.
So he never went inside the house?
We don't believe so.
Were they together that evening, most of the evening, or
No,
okay?
not that we know of.
Do you have an age on him?
I believe his age was 31.
Lieutenant, can you tell us if the roommate was able to provide you all any information about any type of strike that might have been occurring earlier in the evening, and Katie was upset about something?
Well, at this point, there wasn't a whole lot of interviewing done by the roommate. Obviously, she was pretty distraught and pretty upset, so we're going to give her a little bit of time to regain her composure, and then we'll continue to look into that avenue.
How long has Katie been living at that residence?
I believe they just moved in at that particular residence.
Can you tell us about any previous problems regarding the professor and sexual harassment?
I don't have that information.
or any information of how long they may have known each other?
We're still looking into that.
Why did he resign from the university?
I don't have that information.
Bruce?
Again, I cannot comment directly on that, and I would refer those questions to the University Legal Counsel.
Is it true Bustamante suffered from a mental illness?
I don't have that information yet either.
Was there anything that indicated or warning signs from before that may have pointed to what happened this morning?
Well, that's obviously part of the investigation. We're looking at that aspect as well, yes.
How many shots were fired at the University of West Wisconsin?
How many shots were fired?
Yeah.
We only know of one. We believe that was from the suspect.
Was there a restraining order against him from the student?
No, not that we know of.
Was he ever her professor?
I don't know.
What was she a graduate student in, Bruce? What was she studying?
Psychology?
Psychology. So there was a professor-student relationship there, as well as some sort of romantic relationship. Is that correct?
I do not know.
Well, Dave, you said that there was a past relationship. Was it a student-faculty relationship, or was it?
Well, we're still gathering that information.
Well, you said a relationship.
It appears there may have been a relationship, and we're still working on that aspect. Don't know yet. We're still working on that aspect.
So that could just mean that they knew each other from class, but I don't want to.
Exactly, yeah. We're still doing interviews.
Can you confirm, was it Friday that he resigned?
Was effective August 19th.
Bruce, you're going to have to speak into the microphone.
Sorry, it was effective August 19th, 2011.
Dean, excuse me, is the faculty, by condition of their employment, are they prohibited from having romantic relationships with students?
Yes.
And is there some evidence that came to light recently that that was occurring between this gentleman and this young lady?
I am not involved with that aspect of the investigation, but again, as Officer Lemon said, that is a factor that is being examined and investigated.
Dean, I'm spending a lot of money right now setting my girl's school down here, and I would like to think that while she has to deal with her contemporaries, that she's off limits when it comes to the professors. I've got enough boys chasing her already. What can you tell us about what the university does to discourage this type of activity?
The university works very hard to make sure that our faculty and students work and live in a very safe environment, and that our faculty have clear expectations about their role as faculty people, but also that our students are given advice about making appropriate choices. And we work very hard in protecting the safety of those who are here, and it is an important issue for us.
It was clear that there was a shooter on the loose last night, just blocks from the school. Why wasn't there an alert system notified until this morning?
Well, it became evident that I don't believe we had a shooter on the loose. We felt that we pretty much had that incident contained, and we were in constant contact with the university, so I think it was a mutual decision between the university and the Moscow Police Department that the incident was contained. There was an emergency notification that was sent out, but we felt that we had the incident contained.
What do you mean by contained? I mean, there was a shooter. You didn't find the shooter until this morning, or at the hotel. So I mean, there was a shooter out there, and I mean, so.
Well, we were still gathering information, and we actually didn't know who we were looking for. So
exactly. So there was someone out there. You don't know what sort of suspect you're dealing with. So my question is, why did you not feel? Why was it not? Why did you guys mutually agree not to notify, I guess, students so close that were living so close to campus?
Well, I think there was a lot of other things going on. You're trying to process a scene. You're looking at a lot of other avenues, and so you know that there was a information sharing and information that was still continued to be gathered.
is this more your obligation to notify students or the schools? I understand you guys are processing a scene. Should the school have maybe,
We work very closely with Moscow Police Department and respect their advice in these matters. We did notify our students as they were getting up this morning and before they were making their way to campus to give them the appropriate information in a timely way.
So did you guys feel that this incident being contained was, you kind of had an idea of then he wasn't going to be a threat to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Dean, it's very possible that the university had found out something about the assistant professor and had done the right thing in having him no longer be on your staff. And it's possible that that's exactly what's occurred, and then this has occurred as a result of that. So if the university was doing its job, protecting its students, and having this person no longer be one of our professors, now's the time to tell us. Is that what was going on?
I believe that the university has taken appropriate actions in this matter, and I would again refer other questions to University Legal Counsel.
Why was he believed to have been in Pullman last night?
The vehicle that he normally operates was located in Pullman, and so we didn't know exactly where he was at that moment in time. So,
Dave,
yeah.
so the vehicle, the black Sebring, was a rental vehicle.
Correct.
Is that leading you to believe this was premeditation, that he rented a vehicle?
Oh, we don't know. It's still way too early. So,
Do we know why he rented the vehicle?
I have no idea.
Does he still reside? Did he still reside in Moscow as of yesterday?
Yes. Yeah, he was staying with friends and moving around. So, yeah.
Is it true that his identification was found on the car seat at Zeppo's in Pullman?
I don't have that information.
At what point do you stop calling him a suspect and call him a shooter?
Well, he's still a suspect.
At what point?
Well, probably he'll be a suspect in this case. If there's any further questions, we're still looking into the case, and we thank you for your time. And we'll still be releasing details as they become forward, or as they come forward. So, thanks again for your time.
Sir, can you say and spell your first and last name?
It's Dave, D-A-V-E, Lemitz, L-E-H-M-I-T-Z, Lieutenant Moscow
His
PD.
last name spelling, please.
B-E-N-O-I-T.
B-E-N-O-I-T.
Yes.
And it's Katie.
Is it Catherine or Katie?
Catherine. Her given name is Catherine. She goes by Katie.
How do you spell that?
C-A-T-H-R-Y-N.
And can you say and spell your name?
My name is Bruce Pittman, and it is B-R-U-C-E-P-I-T-M-A-N.
And your title?
I'm Vice Provost of Student Affairs and Dean of Students. Thank you.